Exactly 1 year ago, Islam fought his final bout as the lightweight champion. And unfortunately, to this very day, we are still dealing with the consequences of Arman's withdrawal on weigh-in night and his addition to Dana White's blacklist.
You miss opportunities sometimes, and he did. So we'll see how this plays out for him next year.
You feel like he could have competed tonight?
I have no idea. I don't know that. Only he knows that.
It was honestly funny to watch Renato Moicano fully convinced that he was about to make history against Islam Makhachev. With no real contenders left for Islam at lightweight, Islam and those around him began lobbying for a fight with Justin Gaethje after his win over Fiziev, 1 year after that brutal knockout loss to Max, when he lost his BMF title.
Ислам хочет драться с большими именами, которые заслуживают, которые давно уже в 70 килограмм.
We'll focus on Justin Gaethje. That would be ideally for us the perfect matchup based on the fact of where his standing is and what he's done. So, and he's a big known guy. So, and Islam hasn't fought him, so he's perfect.
And how similar last year is it today with Ali, the manager of both Kamaru Usman and Justin Gaethje, once again trying to convince the public that Kamaru deserves a title shot.
Kamaru Usman is a real deal, and he want to fight the real deal.
Much like the fan backlash to the idea of Kamaru fighting Islam, their reaction last year was exactly the same toward his close friend Justin. First, because he had already exhausted his chances at the lightweight title once in the title unification bout against Khabib, and we all know how that ended. And second, after Charles lost his title on the scale, Gaethje failed to capture a vacant belt that was practically handed to him. That period was perfect timing for Islam to achieve his dream and move up to 170, vacating the belt after Hunter's shuttle trips between Dubai and Dagestan, and the last thing on his mind was defending that belt for a third time against the featherweight, because the haters would never let him forget it for the rest of his life. With Arman placed in the naughty corner, switching his focus to wrestling, refusing to fight anyone ranked below him, and concentrating on social media, Ilya faced Oliveira for the vacant title. That week, Arman was the official backup, and by successfully making championship weight, he proved to Dana that he deserved to face the winner.
155!
But on that night, which really doesn't need to be revisited, and that Gaethje and Paddy sitting cage side, Joe Rogan decided to bring Paddy, who has a long history with Ilya, into the cage to face the new champion. Even though that confrontation happened by mistake,
Well, I don't know who the hell let him in there. That should have never happened. Let's start there.
those scenes became deeply embedded in our subconscious, and there was no way to erase them from the fans' mind. As Ilya went on a media run, steering controversy through interviews and press conferences, and Paddy continuing hurling insults at Arman, and Justin practically begging the UFC for the next title shot, threatening retirement otherwise, Dana, who clearly trashed him,
You should probably retire.
announced that the winner of Arman versus Dan Hooker would be the #1 contender. However, Arman had inside information confirming that Paddy was next, and during fight week in Qatar, Paddy played that role perfectly.
What's up, bro? How are you doing? All good?
Ilya stated that he wanted to fight him,
Yo, mira, pues tengo a Paddy en la mente. Me gustaría pelear con Paddy si es que no me dejan subir en peso welter para pelear con Islam.
and Arman knew that even if he murdered Dan Hooker, Paddy would still be next.
No one was getting a title shot off of that fight. You know what I mean?
And of course, that headbutt didn't help him at all. On that night of October 22, Arman did what he had to do with Ilya, had already left the building early and didn't step into the cage to erase the memories of that night at the T-Mobile Arena. Despite the information Arman had and the evidence after the other, he tried to convince Hunter Campbell, who was sitting front row in Dana's place, and in post-fight interviews, Arman said everything he could, expressing his readiness to return quickly in January to fight Ilya Topuria, but deep down he knew Paddy was next.
Rest 1 week, fly to US and stay there 2 months. It's enough time to get ready
And hopefully on Tuesday they announced that fight and me fighting main event with Topuria.
A few days later, as you all know, Ilya announced that he wouldn't fight in the first quarter of the year due to family issues. Then, without leaving any room for speculation, Dana White appeared that night and announced something Arman never expected. Justin Gaethje was chosen instead of him to fight for the interim title.
Obviously, you just saw Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim title.
After discovering through social media that Paddy and Gaethje would fight for the interim title, Arman then learned the following week at the UFC seasonal press conference that he wouldn't even be competing for the BMF title he had been chasing. Honestly, the first conference of the new era, with the Paramount logo glowing in the background, felt underwhelming. No standout moments except Derek Lewis' humor and Max and Volk sitting next to each other. During that conference, Gaethje, who had thrown his interim belt on the ground after defeating Tony, stated that the belt he was fighting Paddy for was equal to the one Topuria held.
Interim champion is the same as a champion on paper.
In a rare moment in Paddy's career, he showed genuine respect toward Justin, whom he considers a legend. But truthfully, there was nothing memorable about that conference, which Dana White didn't even bother attending. After revealing the schedule for the first quarter of the new year, during which Topuria, Pereira, Khamzat and Islam would all be absent, Paddy and Gaethje faced off for the first time. Incidentally, Gaethje had been present when Paddy called him out after beating Chandler. And I know many people, myself included, mock Paddy because his biggest win came against Chandler. But honestly, he did to Chandler what no one else had done before. We were supposed to see this match up multiple times last year.
It's going to be a big card. The co-main event is Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje.
But Justin refused any fight that wasn't for the belt. That's why Paddy didn't balloon up like he usually does outside camp, because he'd been waiting for Justin since July. Clearly, Justin's stubborn waiting game paid off in the end. As for the UFC's first event on Paramount, despite criticism of the main event and demands from the same liberals that won that women should headline the card, I think the card overall is fantastic. There isn't a single fight on it that I didn't want to watch. After 6 weeks without an event, during which Arman seemed to be everywhere imaginable and somehow received more attention than Paddy and Gaethje, we finally reached the border of the first fight week with Paramount. This time, we can't even call UFC 324 a PPV. It's simply a numbered event unless you live in Canada or the UK. With Arman appearing everywhere, Ilya winning his first legal battle, Kayla Harrison pulling out for emergency neck surgery, Paddy and Gaethje had to go on media tours to refocus attention on the main event, with only 1 week left until fight night. The conversation covered countless topics, so I'll summarize what's worth mentioning. Both Paddy and Gaethje realized this could be the end of the road for the Arizona native.
I don't plan on being there after the fight. I don't know. Like, I don't like to speculate. It's one fight at a time.
Sad to say that I think I'm going to retire him.
Paddy confirmed that Arman already knew. He had been preparing for Ilya 3 weeks before Dana's announcement.
For about 3 weeks, we were training for Ilya.
Recently, Paddy has been dreaming that he finishes Gaethje, and for those who interpret dreams, feel free to explain it in the comments.
I keep having visions of knocking him out on the feet. To be honest, I keep having mad crazy visions of knocking him out on the feet, but wherever the fight goes, TKO or submission by round 3.
Paddy considers himself the champion in Ilya's absence.
While he's out the cage, I'm the champ anyway. When I win this belt, I'm the champ. He can sit on the sidelines with his belt, but I'm the champ.
And contradicted himself multiple times. First saying Ilya is tougher than Arman,
but after watching that fight, he's not. Ilya's a much tougher fight.
Then claiming the opposite.
Who's the bigger helmet, Arman really?
It seems the insults he's been repeating about Arman in recent weeks have had an effect.
Punched the fan walking out of the cage.
He pulled out that Islam fight with a bad back, then fights Dan Hooker, headbutts him at the weigh-in.
As even Justin Gaethje learned the lesson.
You know, the guy up multiple times. He was going to fight for the belt. He pulled out the night before, you know, because he couldn't make weight, and you know, then he headbutts Dan Hooker on the, you know, on the scale. That's also something you cannot do.
In Gaethje's interviews, it's becoming harder to understand what he's saying. Although he's spoken like this for a long time, he's now starting to resemble Stipe in speech patterns.
After I'm done, then I can worry about it once it's over with. But right now, November 16th is all I'm worried about, it's all I care about, it's all I've been training for.
It's clear the 37-year-old man is showing early signs of CTE, not only in his speech, but in his ideas as well.
For many months now, I want to fight in January. I thought it would be against Topuria, but, you know, and then I was going to fight and defend my belt in June against the winner of Holloway and Oliveira.
When I was going to lose to Max, who makes the choice there to go to sleep or knock him out, you know? I knew I was losing and I knew that was my only chance. And most people, you know, rightly so, would not take that chance. But that's who I am, and that's, if I get that chance, if I'm in that position again, I will do the same exact thing.
Being in a bike crash 18 days before Oliveira fight, banging my head off the road, you know, I was compromised walking into that fight. And for Max, it was a mindset thing. So those are the only two guys that have ever got, you know, not the best of me, and two fatal mistakes.
To completely erase any trace of Arman before the first fight week of the year, Paddy held an open workout at the PI. As fight week began, both Paddy and Gaethje had already finished their training camps and arrived early in Vegas. Paddy looked in excellent physical condition despite concerns about his diet, and despite appearing with that poison in his hand. As did Uncle Gaethje, despite nearing 40, he proved against Fiziev that he can still compete at the highest level. For this camp, he brought in the 15th rank Ziam, benefiting from the cardio due to living and training at altitude in Denver, Colorado. But that mark on his neck was still there. Meanwhile, Arman arrived in Los Angeles just hours from Vegas, joined Jackson's camp, returning to training under Sam, Calavita, and did countless interviews and media appearances. Honestly, I see him more than my own family these days. At the start of fight week, he once again stole the spotlight from Paddy and Gaethje.
I'm here for the backups. If someone pull out, I'll fight, you know.
Like, let's say you fought Ilia Topuria 10 times. How many times do you think you would win?
11.
Because I'm not going to be the one to say that, but
It looked like that, right?
I think you were afraid of Islam.
Harrison got injured, but if they need, I can fight with Amanda as well. I hope it is a Gaethje because I don't like Paddy, first of all. Second, nobody can buy Dana. It's gonna be too hard. If it was like this, I would buy him already.
You could? You think you could buy him off?
What do you think? We could?
Possible.
500 million, I think. Possible.
On Monday, with all fighters arriving in Las Vegas and gathering at the Apex, including Umar, who didn't make it onto the main card. Paddy repeated the same move that broke Arman's back last year, and out of respect for you, I won't show those scenes. Unfortunately, even in the Paramount era, that 37-year-old woman remains one of the UFC's main promotional tools. With Arman constantly appearing on my screen every time I opened my phone, Paddy was forced back into media mode, stating that Ilya would have to wait for his chance, expressing his disinterest in fighting at the White House.
Yeah, he's not getting me back in April, lad. He's gonna have to wait. He made me wait, even wait a few months. April's not happening, lad. End of June if he's lucky. Start of July.
So no interest in the White House card then?
No.
Coincidentally, during the UFC's first week with Paramount, we also witnessed the first week of Zuffa boxing. Ticket prices to watch Colin Walsh at the Apex or Meta Apex were absurd. That night, Dana White appeared in Miami at the National Championship, standing next to his sworn enemy Jake Paul for the first time. The only reason Dana would ever get close to that man is his connection to Donald Trump. But the most important thing so far was Arnold Allen's return and his arrival at Harry Reid Airport in Las Vegas. On Tuesday, UFC 324 fighters arrived at the Apex for official check-ins. Upon arrival, Paddy met another one of Dana's spoiled kids, Irish boxer Colin Walsh, and the Liverpool native clearly wasn't happy with that shirt. Justin, meanwhile, reunited with his close friend Kamaru Usman and his manager Ali Abdulaziz, who has succeeded once already and is chasing a second. The mark on Justin's neck began to heal, but it still looked suspiciously like a staph infection. With the first event in 6 weeks and massive media presence, Paddy and Justin did countless interviews, and I was happy to see Brian Campbell among CBS UFC crew. Among recycled questions from Paddy's weak resume to Gaethje's age, you're bound to find something interesting.
He's trying to copy me, isn't he? He's trying to be me on social media, going around eating burgers and pizza and that. Stick to your caviar, lad. You know what I mean? You eat caviar, you posh little
And I hope I make Paddy piss himself in front of millions of people on Saturday.
Did you enjoy a little vape here and there?
Yeah, it helps you not eat food, like, you know what I mean? A little CBD vape. Zuckerberg would probably sub that nog, hè?
Ultimately, he is just a human, and there's no way he's Khabib Nurmagomedov, so.
It's gonna be in what looks in a bloody mess come Saturday night once I've finished with him.
First thing, what happened here? I see something in your neck. I don't know.
You ever heard of HIPAA? What's wrong with you?
HIPAA? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it means don't ask me about my body.
Okay.
I won't ask you about yours.
Okay, I'm just checking if it's everything okay.
Everything's great.
After Chandler was removed from the White House event.
I know there's like all the talk of Michael Chandler and Conor. Do you see like that as like a realistic thing?
No,
happening?
I mean that was a couple years ago.
Yeah, so that's not nothing you'd entertain for the White House.
No.
Conor spoke about seeking a new contract. Rumors of him facing Masvidal spread.
So I can't really say too much, but I am training for something big, man. I can say that. Something very big.
And Dana, busy promoting Zuffa boxing, went back to playing with poor Michael Chandler's emotions.
I don't listen to any of the goofy
No.
that go, no.
Is that considered goofy?
Goofy shit. Yeah.
That night, amid the chaos of the White House event, that man steering conflict between fighters.
What do you make of that? Him saying that it was a laughingstock before because not many people held that belt. You were the one that put it on the map.
But real conflict didn't begin until Wednesday, press conference day, with the UFC signing a $7.7 billion broadcast deal with Paramount. The PPV model was cancelled, meaning fighters would no longer receive PPV points in America. Main event fighters lost a major portion of their income through the UFC reassured them they'd be compensated. Paddy arrived first, answering the same questions we've heard 1,000 times. Gaethje followed, and after the media repeating the same questions, he made a statement Paramount didn't need to hear during their fight week with the UFC. Maybe it's time for Gaethje to change managers. Behind the scenes, after the usual photo session, Paramount invited main card fighters to a unique shoot. Here, Gaethje and Paddy faced off again in the awkward encounter. Everyone commented on Paddy's poor posture. In moments like this, you're grateful Arman wasn't there. He would have ruined the room entirely. Then the fighters' nightmare continued with an insane number of interviews. Gaethje had to face the liar DC in one of them.
Out here saying everybody's getting paid more and you're lying. Why would you say that?
Wait.
Why would you talk out of your ass when you have no idea what's happening?
I never said everybody. I never
You
said
everybody.
I said
paid more. The fighters.
no. I said the fighters. Are you kidding me? You're gonna do this?
At the same time, Dana hosted the first Zuffa boxing press conference broadcast on WWE's channel on the TKO's assets. Dana, as Zuffa's first ad showed, was the center of the organization. And honestly, I haven't seen him this happy at a press conference in a long time. One reason for his happiness was the passage of Ilhan Omar's amendment to the Ali Act under TKO earlier that day.
Today was a great day for it. I don't know if you saw, but the vote was incredible.
It was like 30-4 or something.
Yeah, looking good.
Bernie would have been disappointed to hear what she voted for. Despite hating media, Dana seemed thrilled promoting this event. I don't know if he knew that Brian Campbell, Paramount's reporter, is Luke Thomas, former partner on Morning Combat, one of Dana's biggest media enemies. But forget that, I can't wait for Dana's next Power Slap announcement. To understand how bad combat sports outside the UFC has become, Jake Paul's successful PFL career ended that night, coinciding with the PFL president Don Davis stepping down. To understand his expertise, I'll leave you with that clip.
What is Don's favorite all-time MMA fight?
So, people who are doctors don't watch
medical shows. People are lawyers, don't watch legal shows on TV.
What's the best fight you've ever watched? Even in the building, what's the best fight you've seen?
Well, it's interesting. I'm going to answer it differently. It's boxing for me.
The next day, Dana appeared on Pat McAfee's ESPN show, responding to Gaethje by claiming they offered him a pay raise and that Justin didn't respond. If the bald man is telling the truth, then the blame lies entirely with who you work for. In that interview, Dana killed any remaining hope for Pool Michael Chandler. On Thursday, the first pre-fight press conference in Paramount history began. Despite the massive logo on screen, nothing changed. The conferences still lacked the spirit they once had. Dana looked completely different from his Zuffa conference appearance, confirming it's time for him to move fully into boxing and leave the UFC to Hunter Campbell. To summarize that conference without shortening meaning, Paddy's comment about Poirier angered Gaethje, which led to the first sign of tension between them. Gaethje apparently received a call from Dana and refused to answer questions about the statement. And to be honest, Justin never cared about fighter pay. Dana doesn't care about this question because he knows it concerns Arman.
Some fighters have said that the rankings don't seem to matter anymore as far as getting a title shot. Does that sentiment concern you?
No.
Paddy responded to Gaethje's "I'm not Khabib" comment.
I'm not Khabib, no one else is. I'm me, you know what I mean? And I'm an even harder puzzle to solve. I'm proper weird. You knew what Khabib was coming to do. You don't know what I'm coming to do.
Imagine the UFC president not knowing the bonus for Saturday night.
I know you said in this era things would be going up. What kind of bonuses is everyone fighting for on Saturday?
Yeah, I don't have that number right now. Yeah.
Will you have it Saturday?
Yeah. No, I don't have it right now.
Dana claimed he hadn't heard of Arman's media tour and answered aggressively to an innocent question by the Complex reporter.
What's my take on what?
On Arman's media tour the past week, and everyone's saying it's the biggest thing fighting right now.
He's asking you.
I haven't seen it.
He's asking you why Arman's trying to be like me, going around eating food. And it's because he's got no personality and he's a little nit.
I haven't seen it. I don't know anything about it. Good try, though.
And after that disgusting conference, Paddy, in their third face-off, looked significantly taller. Later that night, Dana did more interviews, talking only about boxing and the White House event. I don't know how Adam Cottrell sat with him without asking a single question about Tom Aspinall. Early Friday morning, as fighters finished the weight cuts, Arman, who still appears on my phone constantly, waited for any news that might push him into the main event. And he had already arrived in Las Vegas. Unfortunately for him, Paddy was first on the scale at 9 AM. Didn't just make championship weight, he was under by 1 pound.
154! 154, the official weight for Paddy Pimblett.
Imagine he spent $150,000 to bring his family and friends from Liverpool to Vegas just for them to watch him get dog-walked for 5 rounds. While watching the comedic morning weigh-in show, the worst case scenario for Paramount happened. Cameron's motherman collapsed after making weight. If this happens backstage, the UFC wouldn't have pulled him like they did to poor Ortega. But now they did out of fear of public opinion. He later claimed he had no issues cutting weight.
People online saying, oh, it's crazy weight cuts, stuff like that. I genuinely didn't cut very much weight.
An hour later, all fighters had weighed in. We saw Figueiredo and Perez miss, and only Gaethje hadn't shown up yet. With 10 minutes left before disaster, Gaethje arrived and professionally made weight. Despite everything we saw that morning, the worst sight was Michael Chandler. In a pre-ceremonial weigh-in Dana interview, he somehow turned Smotherman's incident into a positive.
He got some stitches on his chin, and that's it. That's a win. So we're happy.
During the final face-off, I became convinced Justin's neck issue was staph, not an ingrown hair as he tried to convince us. If it was an infection, he was likely on antibiotics, which makes cutting weight harder, something Paddy hinted at the final face-off. Once the fight was official, Arman knew he wouldn't fight that night and went where you know. I stayed up to watch Zuffa Boxing's first event and I regret it. It had everything Dana hates. Fighter begging for money, endless ads between rounds, boring fights, and the other boxing match I won't name, you know why, was more exciting than Zuffa's event. Even Dana knows his long-awaited boxing debut wasn't worth anything.
I have a certain, I know where I want this to be, and I'm impatient. We're building a whole new team here, and a lot of people have never done this before. So it's going to take some time.
When we thought the first Paramount week couldn't get worse, suspicious betting line movements appeared for the Jonathan versus Hernandez fight. After days of criticism, Dana redeemed himself on fight night by announcing the UFC's new bonus system. Performance and fight of the night bonuses doubled from 50 to 100k. A new 25k bonus was added for every finish, increasing excitement across all fights. But as we say, not every day is a holiday, as the UFC cancelled Johnson versus Hernandez without explanation, clearly due to sudden betting line changes. Some claim news of Hernandez's injury spread, flipping bettors' choices. Either way, the card lost its fourth fight, and later Dana explained what happened.
What can you
tell? That's what it is. Happened again. We got called from the Gaming Integrity Service, and I said, I'm not doing this shit again. So we pulled the fight.
After 6 dry weeks, the UFC's first event of the year and the first with Paramount finally began. Bonus increases gave Dana something to be proud of in front of TKO stakeholders, except for Bruce Buffer's mistake in the first fight and Hockett's insanity. Also, who expected Atiba to go to a decision, and who thinks Omar's performance earns him a second shot at the title. After Paramount's endless ads overshadowed Dominic Cruz's Hall of Fame announcement, angering fans, Paramount delivered a great main card intro until that guy ruined my night. Then Waldo's rise continued worsening poor Tom Aspinall's situation. With Dana, Hunter Ari and Mark present, O'Malley saved what was left of his career and officially entered his name for a fight with Peter Yan at the White House. But Merab deserves the title more than Sean or Omar. With Ilya absent and Arman present, the two best lightweights, Paddy walked into his first title fight like he was in a Liverpool nightclub. We still don't know if Gaethje entered fight week on antibiotics, but it no longer mattered, as Bruce called the first main event in Paramount history and Mark Goddard announced the start of the bout for an interim title that lacked legitimacy in light of Arman being denied the opportunity to fight for it. And as the lingering traces of the staph infection became visible on Justin's neck, Paddy began the opening round attempting to interpret the vision he had seen in his sleep. But in trying to force it into reality, he collided with a fighter who lives for moments like these.
Left hand lands for Pimblett. Up at times with chin ascending to the air. Oh! Good knee for Pimblett and uppercut.
Gaethje just seems to just go on the knee up the middle.
Pimblett, a wry smile for Gaethje.
And since we were speaking of Aspinall, Paddy suffered an eye poke in the final minute of the round. Yet, unlike his compatriot, he returned to the fight, and the two continued their growling war in search of a finish. Ironically, Paddy was the one throwing the leg kicks, while Gaethje was the one attempting to wrestle.
He's punishing the legs of Gaethje.
Good right hand by Gaethje.
In the second round, that brutal war continued, and the man approaching 40 proved he could still absorb punishment, coming very close to finishing the lad from Liverpool.
Good jab. That bothered the orbital and smashed.
Oh my goodness.
Cracking right hand.
It was later revealed between rounds that Gaethje had gouged Paddy's eye. Yet another mishap to surface in Paramount's first week. In the third round, as Paddy's coaches pleaded with him to wrestle Gaethje, he began to recover in the stand-up exchanges. And with Gaethje clearly struggling with his right hand, the momentum of the fight began to shift.
But Paddy is well. Oh, nice jab.
Body kick is there for Pimblett.
Oh. Beautiful look right. Oh, nice right hand.
Yeah, right. Very with the right. Landed the left.
But in the final minute, the bout was halted due to an illegal knee to the cojones, this time from Paddy. Once resumed, the war carried on. As we entered the championship rounds, the advantage belonged to Justin, hardened by his training in the high altitude of Denver, and he proceeded to give Paddy a valuable lesson in the fourth round. But unfortunately, the fouls did not stop.
Goodness.
A lot of people watching the UFC for the first time tonight.
Oh!
After pleas from Paddy's corner to end the fight, contrasted with the calm composure of Trevor Whitman, we entered the final round. The war was still raging, and the only thought on my mind was imagining the crime Ilya would have committed had he been inside the cage that night.
Your conversation 11 months from now. Showing that he's a human being. Looks like Gaethje.
Well, he's taking so much damage.
With the fight over, there was no doubt that Gaethje, having silenced every doubter, had emerged victorious. One need only look at the disparity in damage in their faces. And although Paddy did not believe in that vision, he did believe the saying that Scousers of Liverpool do not get knocked out. Thankfully, there was no controversy in the judge's decision, and I never expected to utter the sentence. Gaethje has become the interim lightweight champion for the second time.
I've been here, I've done it too many times to try to think that it's over or he's quitting. I knew, I could feel it. This guy was trying to hurt me the whole time. If I took my foot off the pedal for a second, he was on my ass. And he did a good job up to the last second. I really wanted to finish him, but I loved teaching him a lot. He said my face was not going to look the same after the fight, and his would look the exact same. So as soon as it was over, I was like, well, look at your face, it does not look the same.
And I can hardly wait to hear Ilya and Arman reveling in Paddy Pimblett's misfortune.
I didn't understand his game plan even. He wanted to box with Gaethje, but he couldn't wrestle him, he couldn't box him. He just a little bit young and he has a better chin, but he's a trash can. Paddy let him do that, but Paddy he's not top fighter, If it was me, Ilya, Justin couldn't fight like that. If I fight with Justin, no, I'll choke him out in the second round.